What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the FansToys Viper, or their version of mass-produced scale aerial bot Firefly. So this is the fourth in the series of aerial bots from FansToys. The last one we got has been a while, actually. It was 2020. We got Iceman, and the one before that, I think 2019, and then we had Maverick, I believe, in 2018 or early 2019. So it's been 4 years since we got the last one. And as you guys know, FansToys had an issue with combiners, and seems they figured it out. We're getting the final one in a couple of months here in 2024, so we can finally finish this one. But here's how it comes out of box. I wanted to mention a few things you have to do to get it squared away. So number one, you might have this part. It depends. It's kind of a results may vary, but you push this in and then you tab this in, and that'll hold that knee into place. I had this. Now, not everyone might have this either, but this little panel might be sticking out a little bit, and that allows this to slide up and down. So what you want to do is close this all the way firmly, pull it all the way down first, and then close it all the way. And that'll lock that leg in place. And you'll notice now they're the same height. They were slightly different. He was a little cockeyed at the beginning. All right. And then the last thing is the face. People have been mentioning their face was falling off. Mine doesn't seem to have that issue, but it was off in the box. I wanted to show you. It's just two little pegs. You're going to lift up the head, get the face pegged in here. And I recommend if you leave it down like this and leave that little gap in between the top of the face and the head, it can fall off. So what you want to do is push it on and then push it up and in. And that will keep it on there. See, it doesn't fall off if you do that. If you pull down on the face and leave that gap, it will fall off a little bit easier. You could also just put some, floor polish or kiki in there. But now we're ready to rock and roll with this guy, and he really does look good. Let's go over the paint and detail. We've got a matte white or gray for the face with baby blue for the eyes. Nice pearlescent white here for all the arms and legs. Red paint here. It does have a little bit of metallic in it. Later I'll bring in all the rest of them. You'll notice the red on this one is a little bit brighter than the others. It's still metallic, and it's hard to show on camera, but it does have a metallic look to it. It's just less metallic than the others. Got some blue paint here, red paint here, and then people asking why did they do that? Well, because it's cartoon accurate, so I'll put the image there so you can see for yourself. But that is how he looked in the cartoon. So you can put the Autobot symbol here if that's where you want to put it. You'll know if you've been watching my reviews, I never put those symbols on until after the review's over. And I'm starting to use the dry water slide decals for these. Continuing down, you have translucent with silver. Now this looks to be a mistake. I showed in the unboxing you can easily remove that translucent plastic. Either you can do that or you can just pop it up here. But you can see they're going to give us a little blue piece that was missing on the box. You can even see it here on this product image there. He's got blue behind there. So I think they're going to send that with the next one. We'll see how that works out. Here are the legs. Here's the side. It does clean up pretty nicely. All the jet parts do fold down and compact nicely. You can open these if you prefer. My personal preference is to have them folded up and out of the way, but you can do it however you like. To be more accurate, you could do this. Like I said, though, my preference is to have it folded away so it doesn't interfere with anything. All right, let's take a look at the articulation. The head is on a rotating swivel. I mentioned earlier the face will fall off if you don't have it pushed up and in all the way, but it goes up and down to there, rotates around on the joint. It's a little bit tight, and as you're moving it, the face can't see and start falling down. So just again push it up so there's no gap in between. The shoulders rotate around on this joint out to the side. It's on friction. It's tight right now. It's okay, but I can see this loosening up over time. But luckily it's on a screw, so you can't tighten it. You have a rotation here at the bicep, at a cut joint. You have a 90-degree bend at the elbow. You have a rotation at the wrist. individually articulated fingers at 2 pins, and the thumb is on a ball joint. There's no pin on the middle of the ball joint, but I took a look at the other 2 Limbots, and it's exactly the same. So same hands as we've gotten before. Coming down to the waist, this is a little disappointing, but it does have a waist swivel, but I'm going to open these up so you can see what's happening. But it's actually down here, so this red piece on the bottom of the crotch is what's rotating. So that does give you that much movement in both directions. My only issue with that is you can't see the position when you have the hip skirts down, so centering it for posing is a little more challenging, but not a big deal. For the legs, you can get the leg kicked up to there on a ratchet joint, back to here hindered by this back piece here, then out to the side on this piece here. And if you move this hip skirt out of the way, and this is kind of cheating, so I don't know if I'd count it, but if you take this piece and angle it up like that, you can get it back a little bit further, and you can get it out to the side a little bit further. There's another hip skirt right here, so I don't really know. I don't know if they meant to do that. There's a hip skirt here on the side piece as well, so it seems like maybe that was an afterthought, but either way, legs are a little bit limited backwards, I would say, just due to this piece here, unless you lift that out of the way. All right, going down the thigh, you have a thigh rotation here around universal. 90-degree bend at the knee on a ratchet, that works nicely. Ankle tilts all the way out, that's really well designed. And you get a little bit of toe tilt down. All right, now let's take a look at the accessories. So first off, we get a replacement face with an open mouth, kind of yelling face. And if you just lift up here, if you push down on the face, it actually will pop off a little bit easier. And then you can put the new one on. They both do the same thing. If you don't push it all the way up, they like to pop off. So just push it in and up in the head, and that'll make it stay a little bit better. But it is a good looking face, so I like this look. You also get the blaster double barrel gun here, done in gunmetal gray. That looks really nice. Now we'll tab it in the hand, just open up the fingers a little bit, and then tab it into here, and then close the fingers up around it. It'll hold without the fingers closed, but there you go. Good looking weapon there. If you prefer, you can display this as 2 guns. I think it looks better as 1, but we could take one, put it in here, and we could take the other one, and now since the handle went to this gun, you got to use the gun ammo clip to hold it. Not a big deal, but it just doesn't hold as secure because you're not using the tab. But make sure you get the fingers on the outside, and then you can have him holding the gun. It just doesn't work as well with this, but you can have him hold it. You can also store it if you don't like that. You can take these and put them right here on the side of the wings, because that's where it's going to go in vehicle mode, spoiler alert. And it's a nice option for storage here for the guns. If you prefer, store them on either one. And for size comparison, there it is next to the other FansToys aerial bots that we've gotten so far. 1 to go, and man, they look really nice together. The robot modes just work. There's something about it that this set really looks good. Now, there is a slight difference in the red on this guy compared to these guys. Hard to notice unless you have it under really bright lights, but there's a slightly less metallic color on this one compared to the others. But either way, I think the set overall is really good looking together in robot mode. All right, now let's get Viper transformed into alt mode. And thankfully, this is a fun and intuitive transformation. So let's get started on the arms. You can lift up here, come to the back, open up this panel, rotate the hand in, close the panel. open up this panel right here. You can just pull up on that tab. That's what locks this arm in. You're going to accordion this in. Now I recommend doing it up because you can see there's a panel that's flipping out and you don't want to scrape the paint on the inside here. So get that in and then close this up. And then we're going to collapse this down. Right, and leave it out like that. But that's one arm. Go ahead and do the same thing on this side. Lift this up, rotate this in, close that up, open up this panel, accordion this down, close that up, and then collapse this down. Right now I'll take care of the chest here, so I'm going to open up these two tabs. That will allow you to lift up this chest panel. And we're going to rotate the arms back down. We can accordion this up on this double hinge. And we're going to take these, and these are going to slide forward. Rotate in. And I recommend using a little piece of that wax paper that they include in the figure in the box to prevent these from scraping. But you can put one here, rotate this in, and then you can leave this right here and then rotate the other one in so that that gets sandwiched. And remember, you're sliding this forward before you do that. And once you get the arms in, go ahead and collapse these down on both sides. It might have collapsed on its own, so don't worry about that. But the key is to have a little piece of paper there just to protect the paint on the inside of those arms. You bring this back down, and we're going to tab these in. These won't tab in properly if you don't have this collapsed in. So make sure you have that collapsed in. There's also a tab right here on the bottom, so make sure that makes its way into here. Get that tabbed in, get this tabbed in, and that tabbed in. All right. Now we'll take care of this backpack. So come to here, and we'll take care of this. Go ahead and untab these little clips that are holding the engine into that fuselage. I'm going to rotate the head 180 degrees. You're going to bring up this nose cone. It's two little slots here. You're going to bring this down and collapse that and tab it in so it looks like that. And then this you can kind of leave here, but we're going to open this up on this hinge and just leave that there for now. Come to the bottom here, we're going to unpeg the rear hip skirts that I showed you earlier during articulation. Bring those up. Right, next we'll work on the legs. So go ahead and come to the sides here, open up these hip skirts, unpeg this hip skirt from here, and you'll notice there's a double hinge here. And actually you have to utilize that for the combined mode. You're going to actually collapse down on that one little hinge. But leave this open for now. And we can actually lay this down, open up the legs kind of to the side, and we'll work on it down here. So on the leg, we're going to fold in the toe. It sits in there. Rotate your wing up. Put a finger here to pull down on this front piece. That'll unpeg that. And then you can pull this away from here. It actually also pegs into the back there. So you're actually pulling it down and then pulling this down and then away. Right? We're going to take this entire thing, open up this little panel right here. Allow you to take all of this, hinge this, accordion this down so it ends up sitting like this. Then we're going to take this piece right here, open up this little clip, allow you to slide the hip down. Now you want to pay attention to these two little tabs here. It's got to make its way around that. Otherwise you're not going to be able to collapse it. Right? But it should collapse down like this. You can close that clip back up. We can bring this back down, close that wing, and get it clipped on both the top and the bottom. It's easier to see if you have it down like this, but you make sure it gets clipped in on the top and the bottom. All right, now that you have that leg down, we can bring this hinge back all the way, and this is going to fit right in there. You can kind of see how it's going to connect. There's a little tab right there, so you can get that tabbed in now. And then this is going to sit underneath here and peg in right back here. But you don't peg it in just yet, just leave this right here. But that's how it's going to go. And now we can come to this side, open this up. We're going to accordion this down, and this is going to hinge right into here. Let's bring this down, tab it in the front, and there you go. And then you can close this up on top, and that'll kind of solidify the fuselage. Okay, bring this up, and that's one side done. So go ahead and do the other side. I'm going to do it off camera, and we'll be right back. All right, now that we got both sides done, we can peg it in together. So up here, you can just clip those two pieces together. And I forgot to mention, this has a clip that's going underneath, so make sure that makes its way. Same back here, clip that together. And then you can come to the back here, and these are going to fold down, and there's two pegs that are going into the back right here. So get that clipped in there, and give that a little push. It should become flush. And then you can close these down. They look like they closed already on their own, but these are going to tab together and close up back there. And finishing touches, we bring these wings down, bring this open on the front, then bring it down, and then tab it in here and here onto the side of the fuselage. It actually tabs it very securely. Open up this panel. This should be flat, this little hinge piece, but then the wing should be angled up like that. All right, same on this side. Come to the bottom here, we're going to get this panel tabbed in here. Make sure it's collapsed on that first hinge. It's a double hinge, so make sure that first hinge is collapsed. And then you should be able to tab it in right there. And Paige mentioned you can close these up. I wouldn't close them because later it will, going back to robot mode or into combined mode, you could end up, scraping stuff. So maybe just close it a little bit, but I would not close those all the way. Then come to the bottom here. We're going to open up these landing gear, and you might need a spudger if you can't reach in here with your fingers, but it is, it looks like die cast piece. There is quite a bit of die cast in here. I forgot to point it out, but a lot of the legs, some of the this piece of landing gear here, some of the armatures. All right, and there is Viper in jet mode, and it is really gorgeous. They did a great job on this vehicle mode. You could see nice smoked cockpit with gray paint down the middle here, kind of a stripe. You got gunmetal gray here for the nose cone. A little bit of silver paint here, blue and yellow paint here on the wings. You have that angled look of the F4. This is F4 Phantom, by the way, for the actual jet mode. On the back, you got that same blue and yellow with the pearlescent white in the middle there. There's engines. You can kind of line these up so it looks a little better, but these are posable. They're on ball joints, so you can kind of angle them. Really, really nice looking jet. I really like how it looks. You can actually open the cockpit here, so it might be best if you grab a spudger and just pop it up right here, and you can see there's actually seat detail. Don't think you could fit anything in there, or at least I couldn't, but that's really cool. And you got cockpit detail there, gauges and whatnot. It does have the landing gear that we folded out during transformation. Rolls very nicely on those wheels. Overall, a really satisfying and good looking jet here. We can, of course, take his guns, which we separated into the two parts, and we can attach these on the bottom. So you can just peg them in. You can kind of peg them in either spot, to be honest, but I like to peg them in the front on that one. And there you go. That looks really good. And for a quick size comparison, there it is next to the MP-52 Starscream jet mode and the Magic Square Optimus Prime. Fits in nicely in the Masterpiece scale. You can see it's about the same size as MP52 in jet mode. A little bit bigger wingspan, but as far as length of the cockpit and height, it looks pretty similar, so works for me. Alright, and here's Viper in what I believe to be the combined mode. There are no instructions, and it's not in the video guide, so you have to kind of guess at it, but it is really quite intuitive. You can look at the pictures of the combined mode of Ethereum and kind of figure it out. One of the things that's a little tricky is the legs had to actually be extended. So in the jet mode, you had them collapse down, but you want them extended here, and then you want this flap folded up higher on here. So it looks like that. You can see you got some nice detail. You can see how it's going to attach here. The head, there's actually a little notch right here on the chest. That's for his nose to sit inside the chest. But basically, this is going to plug in. There's two slots here for tabs. These two are going to plug in on the side of his torso and kind of hold his arm in. And I assume something's going to come down and clip onto the top of this to hold that arm in. But it really does look good. You got some nice detail here, the articulation here. So I'll show you. It bends all the way there. Now you want to kind of get these out of the way. So fold those flat, and then you can get this arm bent all the way up. You have a rotation here at the elbow. And then this backpack piece just sits up here. Now in the promo images, they have these folded out. I think it looks dumb with the wings like that. But you can do it however you like. I just prefer it to be kind of folded up like that. But yeah, really good looking. I didn't show the transformation to this just because there are no instructions. I don't want to give the wrong instructions, but I'm pretty sure this is correct. So final recommendations on the FansToys Viper. I really like this guy. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 strong recommendation. To me, this is the best version of a G1 Firefly that we've ever gotten in any scale, really. The robot mode and the jet mode look perfect. I love the way they look. The jet mode isn't just too cartoony. It's actually really accurate to the Phantom, that Ford Phantom. I just love how it looks altogether. And usually when you get a good looking robot and alt mode, the transformation is a nightmare. And the funny thing is, this is a really fun, simple, intuitive transformation. So that makes the whole thing overall really good. Now, the combined mode I guessed at, I'm pretty sure I've had it right there, but even that was pretty simple to get it transformed. So combined mode's looking really good so far. We'll see how it ends with Jester, which is coming in a couple months here. I'm assuming they're going to have combined mode instructions with the final figure, right? A whole book of combined mode instructions, since they haven't had any so far, right? There haven't been any combined modes, but they really nailed it. Now, the only thing I would complain about on this figure, minor complaint, but you can see I have the waist swiveled here. It's a crotch swivel, right? That's really what they did. They built a crotch swivel, not a waist swivel. Now, I understand why, because if you looked at the combined mode, there is a swivel, but it's inside here for the combined mode. So I kind of understand why they had to do it this way with the crotch. I just would have preferred if it was higher up. But other than that, I really think this is a knockout version of Firefly. If you're looking for a robot mode or a jet mode version of this guy, I think you're really going to be happy with this. So that's really for today. I forgot to mention, Nick the Toy Guy sent this out for review. I was actually on vacation, and so my review is a little bit late here. But thanks to Nick. I also got one from the Chosen Prime, so shout out to them for getting this over to me so quickly. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.